Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at a brand new European cruiser, the Regele Carol, I believe. Sorry about pronunciation as always. This is a battle cruiser though. Small ship looking, but we do get 280mm main guns with a 12-second reload, 12.5-second reload here. That is kind of incredible. Most of the time when we're getting these battle cruisers with anything above 203mm main guns, it's often a 20-second reload. That's very common, maybe even a little bit more. This ship, though, 12.5-second reload feels pretty good. This is also the highest AP pen of any cruiser guns at its tier. It's about the same as Met's Alt-Fire. Now, that was the experimental ship, which thank goodness that those ships are gone, by the way, but that is an incredible amount of armor-piercing pen. At 15 kilometers, you get 400mm, more than enough for any exposed battleship citadels at your tier. It's a tier 8, by the way. And even at closer ranges, let's say at 7 kilometers, you get 520mm of AP pen. Tier 10 battleships will eat citadels then. Now, you're not going to be brawling much with this ship because of its armor profile, very large exposed citadel, but strong armor piercing is what is making this ship so good. Shell velocity is awesome out to range as well. And I think the AP here has a little bit low alpha damage, 7,800. But still, it's quite solid armor piercing. The HE here isn't too bad either, 4,000 alpha damage, 47mm of pen, notably, and a 24% fire chance. 6 guns, maybe not my favorite, as you guys know, but considering the reload here, Battle Cruiser Dispersion 2.0 Sigma, you should find these guns to be reasonably good. I found them leaving a bit to be desired, to be honest with you. I played this ship a lot before making this video. And that's partially because the ship was very temperamental when it came to its main guns, but also I'm pretty biased against 6-gun ships, okay? I had to give it a fair shake, and at times, this ship was extremely fun to play when these main guns were connecting. Now, very important, we also have great detection down to 10.2 kilometers, so very stealthy for the caliber of these guns. There's some of that overmatched citadel coming through, unfortunately. Very exposed citadel. I'll show you that towards the end of this video, but just know you will explode if you get caught at closer ranges. You can try and bait some shots into your belt, but it's not going to be very easy. You want to use your concealment to catch people off guard, get into decent positions. But we do, fortunately, have a super heal to make up for this armor weakness, this massive citadel. You don't have enough HP to really survive too many salvos broadside, but if you take a few overmatched citadels through your bow or stern, you can heal through it. We get 4 super heals when we're taking Superintendent, and those are extremely powerful. You're going to get 24% of your HP back every time you use one of these, and it's only got a 60-second cooldown. Notably, 80-second cooldown is pretty standard for heals, especially super heals. Of course, that's their weakness, right? They heal back a ton, but it takes a while to get back to them. Not so here. Yeah, it's an angled citadel on that Nelson. The AP punches through almost all armor that you're going to be facing. It's great, assuming it hits the right spot. That's a bit of the issue here. Let's full send it around the corner. Los Andes pushing us out. This is a bit of a problem. I thought I was going to go down here pretty quickly. However, with this engine boost and taking rudder mod, we're quite maneuverable for about a minute. This engine boost does not last very long, 50 seconds, unless you're boosting it with upgrades and commander skills. But we're taking both the rudder mod and then timing this engine boost. It allows us to drift around a lot of the incoming fire, as well as trying to time up those drifts for when the battleships fire. If they hit our belt armor at the right angle, sub 30-degree angle, we should be able to bounce those shells. This is a very difficult thing to do with this ship considering its armor. Nelson shot HE, and we drift around it. That could have hurt us quite a bit too, considering our armor belt is fully exposed at only 102mm of plating. We'll get the torpedoes, finally get the citadels on that Fiji. Oh man, the downsides of good pen, unfortunately, is a lot of overpens. Good shell velocity as well. Here, though, allows us to get the double strike into the Nelson. Triple citadel. Somehow we're still alive. We're going to go down rather quickly here, though. The torpedoes have some pretty decent firing angles. You get 3 of them per side. These are basically Holland torpedoes. Not huge damage, but they do have really good base speed of 86 knots. 10,700 alpha damage, 12-kilometer range, and they reload in 55 seconds. So you can spam them out. Stealth torping as well is completely on the table. Great damage out of this one. Little inconsistent on the main guns at times. There were quite a few broadsides, and I do want to show you. I have a ton of clips to show you. Okay, we got to blitz through this because this is going to be a long video otherwise, but lots of citadels to be had, but perhaps even more broadsides that I felt like I should have got a little bit more. Here, though, we do find the Allende broadside, a double citadel, 4 out of 6 shells hit. That's pretty good for battlecruiser dispersion, gotta say. Though now that he's starting to angle, he gets his heal too. Yeah, we're not gonna finish him off anytime soon. This is just standard AP pen angles, no improvements there. 45 to 60 degree there. But we caught him off guard, notably, right? We can pop out from behind that island, catch a broadside. Using the concealment here, I found to be very, very important. You need to time up the broadsides rather than just focusing on the pure DPM, because sometimes we'll just give them the car wash treatment. Yeah, battlecruiser dispersion can sometimes troll you, even though it should be pretty good. There's an overmatched citadel, unfortunately for us, but we get some healing, right? Now he's forced to turn broadside, and again, there's the citadel, even at range. Very good shell velocity. It's quite easy to lead. You get trolled on dispersion from time to time, though. Stealth torping the Char-Nor's 43 as he's pushing in here. There's a very scary position to be in where your team's flank kind of collapses. But if they decide to push you, you can stealth torp them. 86 knots base speed is great for leading torpedoes. You only get 3 of them per side, but again, they reload very, very quickly. The HE, I will say, I mostly shot armor piercing out of this ship because the HE felt quite sad. It's fine. It's not bad, but it was not really going to get a ton of damage for us over time. It's just not consistent enough as far as alpha damage, pen, or those fires. I really wanted to focus on catching people's broadsides because that's where I found this ship did the most damage, had the highest battle impact. Catching cruisers off guard, that kind of thing. Speaking of, this rune is going to sail broadside onto us a lot over the next minute or so. And unfortunately, we're really not going to be able to citadel him, which is frustrating. It's quite frustrating for me. I have to be careful, though, trying to push in on the flank here, starting to get focused. The ship can die rather easily. Notice I'm not using my front gun all the time, or my rear gun in this case, all the time when I'm pushing in. It's because we have 35-degree forward firing angles and 35 rearward firing angles. Pop the engine boost, though, and I feel a little bit more confident to dodge. That engine boost, by the way, which I should have said earlier, is a 25% engine boost. That's really, really powerful. Doesn't last very long, but it does give us the ability to accelerate very quickly and hopefully dodge a lot of incoming fire, which is why I went with rudder mod. The turning circle radius here is also very, very strong. It's got a 660 meter turning circle radius, 10-second rudder, 9.9-second rudder base, which is why I really wanted to improve that section of the ship and then save the engine boost for the times where I needed the acceleration. 31 knots top speed is not great. Without the engine boost, it is very, very sluggish. We would have made this turn, by the way. That's how good the turning circle radius is, but it's a broadside rune that's basically stationary. Come on. Please, game. You can't play me. I'm going to ground here because I'm greeting for these salvos. And man, it's... It wasn't worth it. Should not have done that. We'll try and survive it, though. We do get through a heal, but Kelowna probably still on us here. Every once in a while, we get that really, really nice dispersion. Just, unfortunately, he's angled now for it. I am using outnumbered here as well, as you can see. So every once in a while, we're getting even better dispersion outnumbered, giving us a very nice 10% dispersion buff, as long as there are more enemies than friendlies within our gun range. Really, really valuable on ships like battle cruisers, and especially on a ship like this one that needs to be finding those flanks. Another big hit, unfortunately. Again, I probably should have just waited and gone behind the island, not got greedy for these guns. But it's a broadside rune. Man, I wish we could have done a little bit more there, but that's okay. Our team comes through clutch, and we will actually win this game. Bit of a scary flank there, but a lot of spotting on that flank. It's pretty stealthy for a cruiser with such large caliber guns, and sometimes it is best to just survive to fight another battle, not just pre-kite and farm damage from open water. That's really not what this ship is all about. Now here, we're getting pushed by a Kremlin. That is difficult. There's also a Vermont on our flank, by the way. The up tiers are very painful with this armor scheme, okay? We have to be an island cruiser at that point, but we have good shell velocity. So it's very difficult to find islands that are low enough to actually farm over. It's very, very challenging in these sorts of games. 16.2 kilometers range is fine against your own tier. It's even great against your own tier, but as soon as you get those tier 10 games, it's tough. Although that's a Kremlin going pretty broadside. That's full pens. Some shatters. Okay, sure enough. Fair enough. It's a Kremlin that's still quite angled, so we're not going to Citadel him, but full pens, upper belts, that kind of thing. The AP does very good into these up tiers. Assuming you can stay alive. There's a 10k salvo into that Kremlin. He's got to respect the guns. And what is this? Are we getting secondary hits? They gave it Napoli secondary accuracy. So built in very, very accurate secondaries. They don't have a lot of pen, 20 millimeters of pen on the HE here, 7% fire chance, but 1.8 second reload on those secondaries is pretty hilarious to have that kind of thing base. Now, the hitting DPM at 10 kilometers is actually 70,000. You're not getting out to 10 kilometers though, because it doesn't have enough base range, as well as trying to fit the extra range buffs into the commander build is quite difficult. And in fact, I would say bait. You really shouldn't be going for secondaries on this ship. It's a funny thing to supplement, though, at closer ranges. You just don't have the armor to survive. But I had to include a little bit of gameplay where we actually were getting those secondary hits. Meanwhile, sailing broadside, not a care in the world. Oh, man, the number of broadsides we got. I'd say we were playing well, considering how many people we were catching broadside, right? That's kind of the tell when it comes to armor-piercing ships is how many broadsides you get. Are you positioning well? That's kind of the idea. There we go, double Citadel, finally. And the Torps in on the Kremlin, but he's still pushing us out of this position, and well, there's still a Vermont on that side, and Baltimore improved AP is going to hurt for us as well. So we're going to go down very, very quickly here, unfortunately. If you miss position in this ship, you will die very fast. Now, it's been long enough. I probably should have talked about this earlier. I apologize, but how do you get this ship? Unfortunately, Admiral bundles or complete gambling loot box containers as well as another option, but never recommend that. The Admiral bundle is going to be $120. So in the same event as the Regis, oh, I forget the pronunciation already. Whoops, my bad. I apologize. As well as shigure. These three ships are all available for $120. If you're watching this video as it goes live, should be in a couple days, something like that, when that event does go live. $120 US is kind of a lot of money. It's a rare ship designated, so we don't know when it's going to come back. This one, man, Lexington broadside, please, Gabe. I found these guns to be quite frustrating, okay? I got to be honest with you. I'm trying to tell you the positives, and in fact, on paper, the ship does look insane, right? 4 super heals, you get the best pen AP at your tier, you still get battle cruiser dispersion with 2.0 Sigma. You have actual DPM on your main guns, where most of the time, when you have such high caliber guns, you just have no DPM. So our AP DPM is 224,000, okay? If I look at something like Cherbourg, that's 305s, 8 305s on that ship, that's 135,000 AP DPM. Like, it's so much more DPM. And it's got great dispersion, battle cruiser, but 2.0. Cherbourg has battle cruiser 1.8 Sigma. And yet, I mean, okay, broadside Cheshire, right? Surely. Oh no, what is that? I mean, at a certain point, it doesn't even look like battle cruiser dispersion anymore. Are these aim bugs, perhaps? Look at our next salvo. This is front gun only. Look at it. How is that the same ship? You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm getting trolled. Maybe I am just a bit cursed. I don't like 6-gun ships, and perhaps they know that, and they don't like me back. But for whatever reason, these ships just do not sit right with me, okay? It should be a good ship on paper considering how fast the reload is on such high caliber main guns. Yeah, you got to keep it alive. That's a very big challenge here. But you got super heals to help out. You got a 25% engine boost for a minute to help out. You got great D-Tech to help out. You even have a spotter plane to allow you to reasonably use your main guns around islands in those up tiers where it's pretty passive. And we're surviving a shocking amount of the time when we get into these crazy little brawls here. And I mean, these are situations where I really hope the guns can do more damage. Yukon, very exposed Citadel. Cheshire, exposed Citadel. Baltimore, exposed Citadel. And, well, I guess in Cheshire, we're hitting some Citadels. Here he kind of gets to his front guns, as well as did I. As soon as we show enough broadside to fire all of our guns, yep, we're going to take Citadels. But we angle in time for the Yukon. And broadside Baltimore, we got to finish him off. Otherwise, we're going to go down here, right? As well as Yukon, right? Oh no, 3 overpens. Yukon, vulnerable Citadel. Nope, can't get it. Oh, actually, we will go down anyway, even though they're both taken out, because this ship has to deal with 60-second fires. Yes, 60-second fires on this ship. 60-second cooldown on a super heal. Maybe that's enough of a trade-off, but I already feel like that's a pretty big ask considering the size of the Citadel on this ship and how sluggish it feels without that engine boost. Also, hydro here, right? Nice that we don't have to choose between any of these consumables. Hydro here is a 5-kilometer hydro. That's quite nice. Any torps shouldn't be eaten. And now we're getting to see Cleveland eat a Citadel right away. Broadside Mogami eats a double Citadel right away. Even got his engine there. And look at how fast we reload. It's fast enough that he can't even get away before we get another salvo into him. Dispersion looks all right. Weird vertical dispersion on that back turret, but we still get another Citadel. Look at how consistent that is. Now we're going to catch the Cleveland yet again, flat broadside, this time at close range. Surely this is just going to be overpens like before on all the cruisers, right? No, suddenly we got to sit like... It felt very temperamental, is what it felt like to me, okay? I couldn't quite understand it, what it was going to do for me. And that inconsistency I find a little bit annoying, but it legitimately does have good guns when they cooperate. I can't tell you when or how often they will cooperate for you, but when they cooperate, it feels pretty good. Synop, we easily should be smashing this guy's Citadel at these angles. I mean, he's even turning even more broadside. Engine boost here, speed juking allowed us to get out from under that rear turret. Look at how broadside he is. Okay, we got one. We did get one, but the dispersion, where's our dispersion at? We angle in and look at that, bounces. Okay. Okay, now the Dunkirk, I think, got a hold of us there, or the cruiser. Front guns only. Suddenly we can't Citadel him again this time. Okay, outnumbered now, active, so it's a further 10% buff to our dispersion. 4 kilometers away, come on. There we go, we got one. It's a bit inconsistent for me, okay? And considering how it explodes, I think the vast majority of people are going to find that this ship, you just can't really play it in the vast majority of games because you're just going to explode to all the battleships firing at you at range, especially with all of the very fast ways that you get spotted early on in battles these days. I'm sure you've experienced that before, whether it be carriers or just the way maps are designed. It's very difficult to find yourself in a position where you're not just going to get lobbed over these islands or even before you get to those islands. Especially once people understand what this armor profile looks like. Wow. 25mm bow. Yes, no icebreaker to speak of here. And 102mm Citadel armor. Yikes. And that is not any space armor here at all. It's gigantic, guys. Surviving at those closer ranges relied on me baiting shots into the belt armor here and then turning in before the shells landed. If the battleships were waiting and patient, they would have maybe shot one, caused me to turn in, and then they would have all shot into my bow, and I would have died instantly. Okay, that is just what would have happened here. I got fortunate that they weren't patient and that I could bait them into doing that, but even that is it's very, very challenging to do, and I wouldn't recommend trying to brawl with it, even though the secondaries are, they are kind of funny, but you're just not going to survive at those closer ranges. The guns are great even at range, so really just spec into that. The torps allow you to have a little bit of supplemental damage or, you know, just zoning control. At 12 kilometers, those are decent enough and they reload pretty quickly. 10-kilometer detect is very nice for this caliber of gun, especially. 32.6 knots with the flags and everything. It's fine. The speed's not great, though. 660-meter turning circle radius and a 7.9-second rudder is great, although that notably does include steering gears here. Prop mod or steering gears, both are good. I was just going with steering gears because I can wait on this engine boost and save that for when I need the extra propulsion. Sometimes that's not always going to work, though, so prop mod is still very nice. The specialized repair teams here is great. Super heal, it's very, very good, although, again, yeah, gigantic Citadel, one of the most exposed Citadels in the entire game. Here's the build that I was running on it. I was trying to greed things like outnumbered and top grade gunner. I knew I was going to complain about the guns in this video. Perhaps I did a good job of curbing the frustration that I had with these vague guns. You'll have to let me know, but I found the guns to be very, very frustrating. So I, of course, have to build into them as much as I can if I'm going to complain about them. You could try to build for Pack-a-Punch to help the torpedoes in the secondary range, but I didn't really like that. Perhaps a better build, though, would drop either top grade or outnumbered and then take a little bit more HP. That could be a very good idea as well. Consumables enhancement, I really like because of the extra duration on that engine boost. That's kind of a lifeline consumable is the way I see it. So getting a little more duration there is very nice. Gun feeder, I shot a lot of AP. Probably should have shot more HE to be honest with you. But anytime I did, it felt quite low damage, very low impact. Outside of trying to go after destroyers, of course. So, but still, we want to be able to swap ammo types quicker. So gun feeder was nice. 27.7 second turret traverse, even without grease the gears. Fast turret traverse, fast reload for this gun caliber. Amazing pen, and yet they felt a little inconsistent. 120 bucks. That's a lot to ask. That's very expensive. But that is it for the Regele Carroll and tier 8 cruiser with a massive citadel. I don't think this is for very many people, to be honest with you, but you might have some fun with it, although unfortunately the cost is very high. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.